No, it's not.
Hashi, you here? We're good? Or we're choppy?
Now I'm meaning Shia.
Alright, bye.
Shia, right? Slowly, I told you to think. Oh my god. Okay. Are them ready? So a few things. Number one, how do we vote out this whole yeshiva week, midwinter vacation trip? We voted it out. It's done?
Done.
Next year we're gonna have it, or it's done? We're having it next year also, or no?
No, we'll make it in Florida 30 degrees again, and that's it.
Oh, 30 degrees again, you think that's gonna work? Just so we could get on time every day, if a few guys come earlier to start the Maariv, if there's a meeting for Maariv, then we'll start like a few minutes earlier. It got pushed off due to Maariv. We have to be mechazik the Maariv. Okay. But one of the big questions I get in the last couple of times I speak to guys, what does Aholis have to do with Sikha? What does this whole paradum have to do with Sikha? What are all these things? What does it have to do with Masechta Sikha? We're learning Sikha. We're learning about the Sikhs. What do you say? What happened?
They need a picture. They will
Okay. So what does it have to do? There's actually a website called Merkava. If anybody wants it, Merkava. Merkava is free. Oh, it's free also. But anyways, what? No, guys that want on their phone, the Zoom guys, if they want to see tomorrow. But bottom line is, one of the questions are, what do all these stuff have to do with Masechta Sikha? So in reality, they don't have to do with what we're learning, but what they do have to do is that we're trying to find out what Rabbi Yehuda meant in our Mishnah. So the way the Gemara works is, there's a Mishnah, it says something, and then slowly but surely, it has to sort of investigate and find out what it's talking about. So, and in many cases, the Gemara starts talking about something, and then goes off on a tangent, and it starts talking about a different thing, and it tries going down sort of a rabbit hole, which is what happened with us in this Gemara. It went, Rabbi Yehuda said a statement in the Mishnah, then we tried to figure out, okay, let's investigate the statement. Does he talk about Aholis anywhere else? Yes, we have a Mishnah in Aholis that talks about it, and he says that it has to be man-made. Where does he know it from? We say from Gzeir Shava. Do you really say that? If that's the case, then we find a stira or a minu. The contrast, we find a stira. A different case by para. So it's sort of going down that rabbit hole to answer the Mishnah. That's pretty much it. So that's where we were last week. And let's pick up sort of the Chazara. It was midway down. The last word in the line is Vitanya. That's going to be the Chazara. And we'll start from there. Repeating a lot of... What? No. That's it. As long as you guys can hear, that's it. Learning. That's it. Fine.
The Zoom people are good?
All of you guys here?
Hashi's coming in clear? Yeah.
So Vitanya. So we're in middle, and we have a brisa. Again, this is bringing back to that. Vitanya, Rabbi Yehuda, we bring a brisa that says, Rabbi Yehuda says, Lo hayu mevi'in d'lasais ela shvarim. We do not bring doors, only oxen. So again, we're going back. This is sort of going down that rabbit hole, trying to find out, you just said that it has to be b'dei adam. I have a case, not b'dei adam. This whole story with Para Aduma was just for this main point. It's not man-made, and there he says you don't need doors. And there he says don't need doors, which means oxen, and oxen are not man-made, right? So Vikitani, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, and even so, it says, the Bride says, Loi hayu mevi'in d'lasais al shvarim. So now, Kiyasu Rav Dimi Amar Elazar, Moider Rabbi Yehuda Kimlei Agrif. So he brings, this is the Chazar from last week, Rabbi Yehuda's Moider, that something the size of a fist or more, even not man-made, is okay. Even not with intent. Again, remember, man-made means intent for it to be an oil. Even if it's any bigger than that, you don't need these requirements, it's an oil. So, Tanya Nami Haki, another proof to support this, Rabbi Elazar says, it brings another brisa. There happens to be many people that ask about this. Why did it bring this brisa? If there's a Mishnah that says the same thing, whatever. But basically, it supports his case that these types of things, which are bigger than the Kamilei Agrif, would not need intent. So now the obvious question is, 1 second. You're talking about all these things. The Kamilei Agrif needs to be the size of a fist. A door, which is on top of an ox, to the ground, has more than a fist size, right? So Vari does the Ishbakama Griffin. That's the question. So why does he Vikatani? And the Bryce still says over there, Rabbi Hudaimer, Loi Hoimivin Blasais, Al Shvarim. So now Abaya has an answer. Abaya says, Abaya, Loi Hotzuchu Lehevi Blasais, we didn't need to bring doors. Not that he says, don't bring doors, only oxen. You didn't need to. This is where we got up to last week, and now we're starting the new Gemara. Now, just before we get into the new Gemara, today's mamish very simple because it's going to repeat a whole brisa that we had before, just adding a few more words into it. So we're going to have now is Rava's answer, which is going to be sort of, okay, Abaya says, Lo Yehutzuchu, you didn't need to. Rava's going to say, no, you didn't need to. You're not supposed to. Not because it's a problem that it's the size of it, or that there's a gap, not because of a halem, not because of all that. Because if you think about it, a kid that's imagine it's simpler with like a horse, right? If you're horseback riding, you have the stirrups, you have the saddle, you have the thing, you're locked in, right? You're not really flying all over. But if you have a door, imagine you were to sit on top of a horse, on top of a door. It's flat, you have nothing to grip onto, you have nothing to hold onto. You're panicking, you're trying to reach out, you want to balance yourself. And the kid, what are they naturally going to do? Try to reach to the ends, hold on to something, and that's the problem. So Rabbi Yehuda over there, when he said, Lo Yehoyu Mevi'in Glases, he wasn't saying, no, he was talking saying you can't, but not because of what you assumed. Not because you assumed it was due to the Tumah. No. I mean, it is due to the Tumah, but not because of the size of the gap. It had to do with the kids reaching over. Okay, now we're going to see it inside.
It's not a safety thing, it's a tumor because you can reach over.
Correct, it's correct, but
it's not a science and whatever.
It has to do with simple science that if a kid's going to reach out.
No, not because he's unwobbly, but because he has to reach under.
Correct, it has nothing to do. The wobbly has nothing to do. The wobbly has to do that. He's going to reach out.
He's going to reach out over and then come to
Yeah. So we're going to see it inside now. Rava Amar, so now here's Rava's answer.
No.
What?
No, you brought it because you afraid your hand is going to go at the end of the door to hold on.
Not even just the end. In reality, it's going to explain even more. That's just I'm putting in. But in reality, it's because if you think about it, the kid is a kid, right? Even if you kept this kid in this place for 7 years, till he's 7 years old, Kedisha, the mother gave birth to him there. He never left. He knew, this kid knew. Right? And what happens? The first time you send him out alone, as if he's on a door, what's he going to do? What a kid does, he's going to reach out, he's going to look, he's going to peek. Who's got to do food? You don't want that. You want him to feel stable, you want him to feel sturdy, and you want him to stay on the ox and not reach out. So, Rava says, Loi hoyu mevi'in blases kol ikr. We didn't have doors at all. Shemepnei shadati shatine gasa, because shadati, the das, I mean the head of a kid, shatine gasa, it's wandering. Gasalav, it like wanders from him. Shemi yotzi roishoy echad meivar v'tama, which is the main point. Lest he's going to reach out, either his head or one of his limbs, and checkmate. All they did was, imagine, you spent all this time and everything, we need you to stay mamish careful, you reach out. That's why I patch that book we get, you know what I'm saying? Like, mamish, reach out, we invested so much time, 1 second, we lost it all. So, the kever time, so maybe he's going to become tummy from the kever time. So, Tanya Kavasi de Rava. So now, this is Rava's answer, and now the rest from this portion that we're going to finish off today is going to be a brisa supporting Rava, which is just going to be the brisa of the whole story of the oxen and everything, adding a few words. Tani Kavasi de Rava. We have a brisa that supports Rava's answer. Rabbi Yehuda says, Lo hoyu mevi'in blases kol ikr. We wouldn't bring doors at all, like we said, mipnei shadati shatine gasalav, because the kid, first time out, he's going to do what a kid does. Shemi yotzi roishay ayachar meivar v'tama. Perhaps he's gonna put his hand out or his head out, and he's going to get tummy b'kever time from the kever time. Ela mevi'in shvarim hamitzriyim. Rather, and again, this is this new brisa that we're bringing that adds this. This is the added part. Ela mevi'in shvarim hamitzriyim shekriseseim rechavos. That what? We bring these types of Egyptian cattle or oxen whose bellies are extremely wide. Now, being that they're extremely wide, it's going to sort of cover all of the kid's, ground, whether his leg, his arm, whatever it is, and keep him in when he's in it. And the kids are going to sit on top of them, and stone cups in their hands. And again, the purpose of the stone cups is namakal tumah. When they would get to the spring, yardu meluam va'alu. They're going to go into it, fill up the cups, and get up and come out of it. V'yashlu lahen al gabein, and they're going to go back on top of the oxen. And again, this is until we're going to get to today. We're going to do a very quick chazar. What's the point?
He skipped the whole thing about how you were nachman and you actually let down the road.
No, so that's a different
it's
brisa.
a new-
It's a different. No, that's a B'yosi.
It's a new
It's a different person. Rabbi Yossi, yeah, I think so. It could be right. 1 second. Rabbi Yossi. So basically, what happens is we brought a new brisa that added a few words. Well, it's not the same.
Why not? Yeah, you're just
So-
interpreting it different.
Very good. Not interpreting. So here's the way it works. There's a Mishnah and brises.
I know, right?
Tanum wrote. They made the Mishnah. So when they said something, very simple, just so you understand. Rabbi Yudan was compiling it. What's a brisa? What's a Mishnah? A Mishnah is things that made the cut. It made it into the book. It made it into the Mishnah. That's a Mishnah. That's king. What happened was there were a lot of Tanum, and even ones are well known, that had brises that didn't make the cut for whatever reason. But it came from a Tana. It's a legitimate piece of Torah. You can't just discard it. So there's one brisa that said this story before. Actually, that thing that you're talking about, where Rabbi Yossi says that's a Mishnah in Parak Para, which I'm not sure exactly where it is, but there's a Mishnah, and it says this is a brisa, and a brisa technically can have its own opinion, and that's it.
Mishnah something that was learned in the Smedish and Bryce is something that was learned outside of the Smedish?
I just the way I understood it, it could be,
Mishnahs
but I
are
think
before
no,
brises.
at the same time. A Mishnah, a Mishnah because it's the same people.
Tanum.
No, Tanum are both. They're both Tanum. The way I understand it is, a Mishnah made the cut, a Bryce didn't. Let's do a quick Chazara. 1 second. So we're gonna go inside. So Rav Amar says, "Lo hayu mevin blasis kolikar." You wouldn't bring doors at all. Again, he's answering the question of this whole lo hayu mevin. Shepnei shedati shaltinik gas alav, because the mindset of a kid is wandering. Shem yotzi roshai ayachem evar. Perhaps he's going to peek over one of his limbs or his head. V'yitama b'kever time. He's become tummy b'kever time. Just now, I'm turning. I remember. I forgot to say the shir, and always all the shirim that we're doing are as chis for Akiva Simcha ben Fega, for a Zivuk Hogan, for Chav b'Bas Miriam, Ahuv b'Bas Miriam, and for Davidar ben Panim Pero. Now, we're going to get back into it. Tani Kavasi de Rava. We have a brisa that supports Rava's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda says, "La hayu mevin blasis kalikar mepnei shadati shaltina gas alav." Why? And again, I'm doing this faster. If anybody has a question on Taich, let me know. Shema yotzi roshai ayachad meivarov. Perhaps he's going to reach out his head or one of his limbs. If you time, it'll be kever time, and I'll get tummy from kever time. Elam avian shvarma mitzvim. Rather, and again, this is the added part to the brisa, that they would bring Egyptian oxen. Shakris is saying that their bellies rechoivis, they're extra wide. Vatinoikos yoshin agabein, and the kids would sit on them. V'kois shalevim b'dem, and the cups of stone were in their hands. When they would come to the spring, Yardu Umilam, they would go down and fill it up. Va'alu v'yashvulahen agabim, and they're going to come out of it and go back on the oxen. Just this is what we're up to today. Everybody could do the Chazara on their own, but just remember, Hashi brought very good stats. That there's at least 36 plus hours that we did. At the end of the day, it is all teamwork. And when someone posts that they learned, it gives chizik to everybody else. And you get schar and the other person's learning. So everyone, keep rocking and have a wonderful day. Shkaf for coming.
Thank you.
That's 5 guys.
Time is one, right?